Welcome to another episode of Dig In, where we go a little bit deeper on last week's episode. I'm Sabah Choudrey.
And I'm Sharan Dhaliwal.
After last week's episode, I just don't think we said the word lesbian enough times. So today, I want to talk about lesbians, but I also want to talk about how they have been portrayed in history and in modern day as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like we have the classic, she's living with her best friend, which I think is how some people have written about Catherine Duleep Singh, right?
Yeah, this actually reminds me of something that happened in 2022. You were there as well. Mm-hmm. Museum curator and educator Amy Dobson was taking our Middlesex Pride team around Gunsbury Park Museum.
Oh, yeah.
And she was giving us queer perspectives on the histories of our local area. We stopped at one display, and it was a textile artist called Joyce Clissold. I remember Amy saying something along the lines of, this local artist has been described as having a long-term companion. And we kind of like, Amy at that point, like she turned and looked at us for like a reaction. Like at first we laughed and then we were like, what the hell? We had like outrage. We're like, why can't they just say lesbian? And we're obviously lesbians. Did they see her mullet? I think it was the first time I properly experienced that collective sigh that we have when we hear that history. Because it was like 8 of us in the room together, cramped into this one little corner, just like going, you could have just said girlfriend.
Yeah. Or like described in a way that they could be sisters. They had a special relationship or something.
Best friends. Yeah. They just always held hands and scissored.
It's funny, but it's also really sad because what it is essentially is, this is rooted in misogyny, this idea that women loving or being intimate with other women isn't really valid or right or legit, full stop, and without men. Mm-hmm. Sex isn't sex unless there's a woman and a man involved, unless it's penis and vagina, heterosexual, cisgender sex. I know I've definitely heard from women, from guys, from heterosexual guys, saying like about their girlfriends or wives cheating, if they have sex with women, it quote unquote doesn't count. Like this idea that it just isn't real. Like it doesn't matter. And we know this because there are so many laws that criminalize gay people and do not talk about women or lesbians. Women are either unmentioned or they're unpunished. Now, I did some research. I know how exciting I turned up with the research.
I am so, oh my God, I'm so excited.
On Wikipedia, under criminalization of homosexuality, they kind of explain why women having sex with women isn't included. Quote, this has been due to a belief that eroticism between women is not really sex and that it will not tempt women away from heterosexuality.
Ugh, and a great penis.
And again, like, it's just like, but it's this idea that heterosexuality is the most desired state of being, the best state of being, and actually, don't worry, you can do it. You're still going to want to be heterosexual at the end of the day. Examples of nations with these laws still in place: Bangladesh, Section 337 of the Penal Code, Malaysia, and several other Commonwealth countries shaped by British colonial code. Hey, it's colonialism again. And
it feels like we're going to come back to that on almost every episode. It's like there's no escape, is there?
Well, that's kind of the point, and it's, I don't know why I'm so surprised to read it. I mean, I'll tell you a bit more, but yeah, these colonial era penal codes are all about that penetration. This is what I'm calling colonial misogyny, like playing out on these massive levels all over the world, even to the extent that both China and Japan, which had not historically prosecuted homosexuality, criminalized it based on Western models in the 19th century. Like, they saw what was happening in the rest of the world and because of colonialism and imperialism, and they were like, oh, we should do that. That's desired. Again, like, that's the way we should be. That's the best. It's just like, it's so messed up. I want to read you something from Jean-Francois Mignot in 2022 from Decriminalizing Homosexuality, a Global Overview since the 18th century. Of the 70 countries out of 2003 that consider homosexual acts as a criminal offence, 1/3 exclusively criminalise sexual acts between men, most often under this legal qualification of sodomy. By contrast, none of these countries exclusively criminalise sexual acts between women. Mignot continues to write, for instance, as Dupré, 2021, another researcher, notes, quote, "To our knowledge, no case of lesbianism has ever been filed in Indonesia, Lebanon, or Egypt. The accused persons may express an exclusive and lasting sexual orientation for same-sex partners or even claim a homosexual identity or not. In any case, and strictly speaking, it is sexual acts which are legally prosecuted, not a sexual preference or identity." And I wanted to read this last part because it's like on paper, I can kind of understand like, okay, yeah, you're saying you're criminalizing the acts, not the sexual preference. But what that does to society is it shapes its culture. It creates a fear of feeling that way, a shame of having done it or wanting to do it. It amps up disgust for LGBTQ people. And there you have systemic homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia and queerphobia.
What was really interesting about that quote was it said it's never been recorded in Lebanon, Egypt. It's just like, recorded how? What do you mean it's never been recorded? Like, what do you want to do? Just break down doors and just yell at people, "Are you a lesbian?"
And then it's like, oh, well, it hasn't been recorded, so therefore it
They don't
doesn't
exist.
exist.
That's a... Yeah, because I know when I was looking through the criminalization of homosexuality in India, it just excluded it said sodomy and bestiality and put those two together.
God,
Yeah,
shudder down my spine.
Yeah,
truly, honestly, like I could just keep going on and on about all of the different laws in different countries and just seeing, like, being able to just trace it back to the British Empire. It's so messed up.
Yeah, we don't swear.
It's weird. I thought it was
We're family friendly.
It also speaks to this real deep need that we have to categorize everything, to put things neatly in boxes, to create systems so we understand the hierarchy, right? That's what you're talking about in the previous episode as well. You know, either you are this or that, and this and that go together, but not this and this, and not that and that. But that's not how people work. That's not even how nature works. You know, that kind of BS argument of, you know, being gay isn't natural or this isn't natural. And it's like, no, actually, what is natural is exactly what we're doing, is being queer, is being free, is not fitting into boxes and doing things in a predicted way. Like, and that's queer ecology, right? That's what queer ecology is really about. And I recommend you checking out Just Me and Issa Qureshi to find out more about that. Let's pick up another LGBTQ plus South Asian on this podcast. Back to lesbians. Actually, there's a really fun little urban legend I also found on the internet whilst I was doing my research.
Oh, I love an urban legend.
Apparently, Queen Victoria in 1885 actually removed women when they were creating the act that would criminalize homosexuality. She removed women from this act because she didn't believe women could be gay. I mean, it wasn't true. It was an urban legend. But I just thought it was so funny, especially because literally what we were talking about last episode.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I like that urban legend because in my head she did that so she could bang women, and I want that to just no longer be an urban legend and just the rumor I'm spreading and want everyone to believe from now on. There you go.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
I mean, just get a beard, you know, just
Get a bit.
why explicitly do this thing to be like, oh no, we're not going to put that in the law because that doesn't exist, right, guys?
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back to lesbian though, because when we do this, when we raise lesbians from our laws and our histories, you know, we raise their lives, the contributions that they have made. We erase their experiences that are not only or just informed by their identities, but actually their identities and their expressions inform their lives.
Well, yeah, lesbians save lives as well. So many people know this, actually. When we talk about lesbians, we do bring this up. Well, I say many people know this. I think it's within our bubbles of queer people. And when I say queer, I mean like politically active LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah.
Tend to know this story a lot.
Actually, it's yeah, you're right. You're right, because even on I Kissed a Girl season 1, they were talking about, I know you're going to talk about.
Okay, let's do it.
And they didn't know about it. Anyway, go.
So during the AIDS crisis in the 1980s, lesbians served as vital caregivers, blood donors, and political activists stepping up to support gay men when wider society and medical systems turned them away. So lesbians became nurses, friends, volunteers, stepped in to feed, comfort, and nurse dying gay men at homes and in hospitals when everyone else refused to get close to them, refused to touch them, refused to take care of them. Even when blood banks faced severe shortages after banning men who have sex with men from donating, groups like San Diego Blood Sisters organized massive blood drives specifically to help AIDS patients.
Oh, that's just beautiful.
It's just lesbians, just
Yeah.
beautiful. They ran errands, cooked meals, provided housing, and offered emotional support for isolated patients. This is the legacy of lesbians. When we talk about lesbians, this is who we're talking about. These are the people that stand up for the people around them, because being disenfranchised means that we talk about this often, you talk about all the different kind of intersectionalities within your identity, and being LGBTQ plus and being a woman as well, you have all these parts of you that understand being disenfranchised. And so when it comes to support people, of course, you're going to stand up and support people.
Yeah.
And so, being on the forefront of the AIDS crisis, just being the family, being chosen family, really embracing that concept of chosen family is just beautiful.
Yeah. You're saying that, and I'm thinking about it now, and like, it makes sense that lesbian spaces are intersectional. They are trans inclusive because of this like deep solidarity, this understanding of all these nuances of being a person and also caring for other people in your community.
And another example is Catherine Duleep Singh from the last episode. Catherine stood up for what was wrong. And knowing that the guarantor system that England had was going to make life difficult for Jewish people, she stood up. And she screwed the system, because these families weren't her workers. She didn't sign a guarantor and say, you have to now work for me. They just lived with her. That's not just above and beyond. That's also saying F you to the system.
Yeah.
And that's very lesbian.
Yes. Being a true lesbian is being decolonial. It's being trans inclusive.
Absolutely.
I hope I don't get cancelled for saying that, because I'm not. I mean, it's okay. I can say that I used to be one.
Wait, say what?
I don't know. Can I say what being a lesbian is without being a lesbian?
No, because I think that's an interesting thing. I think yes, because I think we can make these kind of statements because we're talking about the history of lesbians and what they mean and what they mean to us. And the reality is what they mean to us is that they are trans inclusive.
Like, there's a whole movement of lesbians against transphobia. There's the Dykes for Trans Rights groups as well. And every time there's a Pride event or Trans Pride event, I do see a whole effort of lesbians and dykes coming together and wanting to show that we are here, we stand with you, trans people.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. It's necessary, I think.
And it's also, again, when we talk about gay or LGBTQ plus, and then we talk about queer, I think there's been kind of an evolution on language as well when we talk about lesbian and dyke, because obviously dyke was a slur, and now it's used in a more political activist kind of way. And you find a lot of dykes for trans rights and things like that more than you see lesbian. And I think it's because of how some of the gender critical movement has used the concept of lesbians being women only spaces to divide.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that, because I've just, I guess, also been in a bit of a bubble where I am just surrounded by people who are politically switched on and queer, and the lesbians I know are trans positive and affirming and loving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I just have a bit of a rose-tinted glasses where I'm just like, who could desecrate the word lesbian like that? It also just doesn't make sense to me, like that. People would use the identity of being a lesbian and put it into this gender critical transphobic framework, because it's just like, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't connect, does it? And I think that's why it's so jarring to so many people that are within like the queer community, because it just doesn't make sense to us.
You're reducing someone to their body parts.
And it's also very much a straight white woman's, if we're going to be very clear about this, a straight white woman's kind of viewpoint.
Yeah.
Because lesbians are cool, man.
So we've said a lot of big words in this episode.
Wow.
I feel I would like you to look some of these words up. We got queer ecology, we got colonial misogyny, and cissexism is another one I just wanted to mention, which was coined by Julia Serrano, who was like, her writing changed my life as a trans person, as a feminist, as a human being. To wrap this episode up, I just want to big up all the lesbians in my life, around my life, adjacent to my life, who support trans people, who support me, even when I don't know it. who back trans people, trans women. And please continue to fight against transphobia. Stand for trans rights.
We love you, lesbians.
We love you, lesbians. And on that note, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.